Okay. Hey, everybody. We are back with a small business founders episode. I'm going to wait until more people come on and then I will start the podcast episode. But I'm super excited for today's podcast episode because I have a fellow AAIP or AIP, AAPI person on air with me, which is cool. And I don't know. I feel like it's something that I want to do more of. We actually invited other people, but Marilyn was the only one free at this specific time,
It worked out well.
which is great. And I think it'll be really fun just to show more AAPI small business owners, just from having little girls myself. So, they'll be like, oh, look at my mom's not the only one, maybe in Iowa, but, elsewhere. Okay. Hi, everybody. Say hello in the comments for all of you that are here. And we are going to get started on our episode. So this is my first solo one, Marilyn.
Okay.
So I've been doing intros all day today. So we'll see how I do with this one. Okay. Okay. So ready. Okay. I forgot what she said though. Okay. Got it. Okay.
You got it.
Yes. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast. I'm Minna Tip, your host for today. And I have a new co-host, a stand-in co-host with me today, and that is Marilyn Pham. I'm going to have you say your own last name of the hyphenated last name. We're actually co-hyphenated last names. So that's kind of a fun thing. And
Yeah.
she's of Gemini Fusion. Hey, Marilyn.
Hi. So as Minna was saying, Marilyn Pham. It is a mouthful, really long last name, but I wanted to add that on. So I am the founder of Gemini Fusion, where we make personalized bride jackets of all varying styles, trying to jump on the on-trend wedding trends and adding that to the day.
That's so awesome. So tell us a little bit more background. Like, how did you get started in your business? You know what? I'm going to back all the way up, Marilyn. Did you growing up, one of the things that I was saying in the kind of like the pre-show of the small business founders is that I really love the fact that, we're doing this interview because it is AAPI month. It's, AAPI Heritage Month. And I love that showcasing for people that there is female Asian owned businesses, small businesses. And I especially, shout out to my girls, one is 7, one is 11. I want them to see that. I want it to be represented. And when I was growing up, I really did not have any sort of entrepreneurial, representation or influence in my life. So when you were little, did you have an entrepreneur inspiration in your life?
Kind of same as you. Didn't have any entrepreneur role models per se, but my parents immigrated to the US from Vietnam in the 70s. So I want to say also my why has evolved with me. My parents worked so hard. They didn't get home till like 6 or 7 at night. So my brother and I would either get picked up by family or by neighbors, get dropped off. So they don't have businesses, but just how hard they worked is exactly what I got from both my parents.
Yeah, the work ethic for
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then tell us how you got started in the business. So how long have you been running? I know you said you sell, customized denim jackets. Yeah. If you are all seeing the video, so you might hear this on the podcast, but we have a video that goes onto our Facebook groups and everything like that and our YouTube. So you can see what a cute jacket that Marilyn has on. And her website is, can you say what your website is real quick?
Yeah, it is geminifusion.co.
Okay, .co. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let us know, like, how did you get started?
Yeah. So going back to, let's say college, right? So I actually studied biology. And I thought I was going to be a pharmacist, kind of steered.
Shout out to my husband.
Towards the end of college, I was like, I don't think this is for me. And I remember going back to this professor that I met with to get a letter of rec for pharmacy school. He was like, you're kind of open book. I don't know if you know what you want to do. And at that time, I was offended. But truly, that's the path. My path has been like this. It hasn't been straight. So I studied biology, graduated with that degree, was a scientist for 4 years. After that, kind of got bored of doing the same thing every single day. Then I had an opportunity to join a process improvement team. And that's simply put, just looking at the process to see how to make it better, faster, without losing quality. Did that for 7 years. And during that, so in 2020, going back to that, in March 2020, I was immediately furloughed. And at that time, it just kind of shook me up, right? I've had a steady stream of income for a long time, didn't know what to do at that point, how I'm going to make ends meet. So my mind, I had a lot of time. My mind was running on what I can do to just kind of get enough money to pay the bills. And at that time, I had a lot of time on my hands, right? And I actually had to cancel my wedding. So I was
Mm.
just devastated, no job, had to cancel my dream wedding in Cabo. But I had all the supplies and materials to do DIY stuff. So I love personalized, handcrafted things. So I just went on Etsy. I'm like, I know I've heard somewhere that it only costs 20 cents to put up one listing and see to start a business, see how it goes. So, during that time, I went on Pinterest, still trying to plan a plan B wedding. And I just saw bride jackets on there. And I'm like, this is a thing. It's super cute. I made my own. I'm actually wearing it right now. So it's kind of a prototype. My own is pretty, not the most perfect thing on the back, but as soon as I put it on, it just made me so happy. I wore it to walk the dog. I mean, we're during lockdown, right? So I wore it to
Mhm.
walk the dog, grocery store, just to wear it whenever I could. And I just put one listing up on Etsy, and I was like, I'm just going to hold my breath and see if any other bride, is into it. And I would love to make them happy as well. So within like 5 days, I heard a cha-ching on my phone. Like that's the notification it makes. And that's what has been driving me and motivating me from there. Um, I noticed that, there were a bunch of this style on Etsy, a lot of competition for this style. I'm like, how can I also enter this realm with other styles? So it just kind of grew. My mind was constantly running. It was always on how to grow this business and be visible and be different. So I expanded into like the white fringe jackets, which is now very popular as well. And it's just been growing ever since. I was kind of juggling this as a side business as well as my corporate job as I got back into work. Um, and in the end, my mind and heart are in this business. So I was fortunate enough to actually do this full time starting in January of this year.
So exciting. I mean, so I forgot to mention that Marilyn is actually in our mastermind.
Mhm.
So she's in our mastermind and you just had a baby too,
I
right?
did in September of 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've gone through a lot of things on top of you birth a business, but you also birthed a baby
Mhm.
and you're in the mastermind and you've been just, working at a crazy pace and everything, which growing your business. But you started with just like everybody heard, a listing on Etsy,
Mhm.
and that is what carried you to where you are now. But
Right.
did you send traffic to that initial listing, or was it like who were your first customers? Was it people that you knew or was it not people that you knew?
It actually, so I didn't start with the bride jacket. I did other things just to test it out, learn the platform. Didn't get any traction on that. What I did was I just put that one listing up. Didn't know about the marketing side yet, but I searched on a lot of podcasts. So this is like full circle moment for me because the Product Boss podcast was one of the ones I would listen to on my drive
Yay.
to work. And so now I'm on it, which is crazy. But I would just listen to podcasts and the guests that you would have talking about Etsy, talking about marketing. I kind of just then dug a little deeper, learned about SEO, how to perfect that. Then I put like $1 or $2 into advertising like one or two jackets, and it just kind of grew from there. My first customer, bless her heart for believing in me. Like my first pictures were my husband, like, "Hey, come to the backyard, take pictures of me." I don't model, so I'm just like, it's like cheesy pictures. But yeah, she just it started from there with Etsy. It's hard to start because you see like, oh, this person had one sale, zero reviews,
Mhm.
but it just kind of grew from there naturally.
That's awesome. So when so it's only been a couple years. Like,
Mhm.
did you tell your family that you were starting a business? Do they know now?
They know now. In the beginning, it was just kind of like a side hustle, so I didn't really say much until it got pretty serious. So I'm going on to 2 years next month. So when I was close to the 1 year mark, I'm like, I hit six figures. So um, yeah, this is a thing. Like I'm doing it, and it started to get to the point where it's like I can't make it to this event. This weekend I am so busy I have to catch up on orders. So they're like, "What are you doing?" So I would show them my Etsy. And at first some think that it's not a real business, right? But
Mhm.
as they started seeing a lot of the sales grow and just the amount how busy I got, like I took over one bedroom in my apartment with a
Mhm.
bunch of inventory, like my desk and my machinery, stuff like that.
That's amazing. And yeah, I think that when you hit such a big milestone and everything, they kind of get on board. Plus, I'm
Yeah.
guessing, I don't know how much biologists make, but, or scientists,
Mhm.
but guessing it's pretty comparable, you know? And I think that when we all strive for that big milestone, and then, but you also gave birth during that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And it's just exciting to see somebody who, like, did it where are you located again? Remind
I'm in
me.
Orange County, California.
Yeah, Orange County, California. Actually, you have a lot of Asian people around you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay, okay. Yeah, so, I love how I don't know, when I look at your brand, you remind me of, like, a young version of what Asian American small businesses could represent,
Mhm.
like the more young, modern version. And I love that you're bringing, like, your own voice, your own artistry, your own creativity to all of it.
Mhm.
So, what would you say is what do you think is your superpower when it comes to building your business?
I think my superpower is just never stopping, really. Like we have all the resources at our fingertips. So I think my superpower is just juggling it all. And I think while I was pregnant, I felt like I conquered the world. I was just juggling a lot, and also every minute of the day was so precious, and I would, be doing something for the business. So I just feel like I can just juggle as with other things in life.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you did an amazing job, clearly.
Thanks.
So what are some goals that you have for your business? I didn't even ask, like, do you mind sharing what your husband does? Would he
Yeah.
ever be part of the business? What does it look like in the future for your home team and your business team, do you
Yeah,
think?
so my long term, I mean, I would love to retire my husband, but I think he loves what he does so much. So he's also in the medical field doing that's for short process improvement, improving the labs and processes and whatnot. I think he'd be a part of it. We've talked about it briefly. Maybe he can do finances, and he can look at my process and tell me what I can do to, let's say, trim like all the waste in the process. But the goal really is to, build this $1 million business to the point where I'll have a team that and they can run it on their own, but I can really just drive the designing. I would love
Mhm.
to do that, and also just kind of break into the bridal shop industry. I want to be seen in stores, and also be seen online and just be known. Like everyone would know Gemini Fusion, be known like for the bride jackets and the style that it brings to wedding days.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love that. And I want to backtrack because I wanted to take you big and then kind of bring you back
Uh-huh.
too, because I love that you have such a big vision. And then I want everybody who heard her hear that she's just started with an Etsy listing. She has really, you've really been growing. You have your site set for 7 figures. And then, and potentially your husband, maybe working for you, maybe not, which is a whole nother layer of things. But because you're in the mastermind, I do recall that it has not all been easy, right?
Not at all. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit of, like, the different hurdles you had to go through? And you don't have to tell us specifics, but I do remember during 2020 with supply chain and everything, you
Mhm.
having to navigate some really hard things with being a product boss.
Yeah. So it's still an issue. I think the two things are space, right? I still operate in my house. But the first year, right, didn't have that much data to look upon, and let's say my sales were slowly climbing. So nothing was, I couldn't see a trend. The first thing, yeah, supply chain was a huge issue. Also, I get my jackets overseas. So they close for the month of February. So I started my business June 2020, and in January 2021, my manufacturer was like, "Hey, so we're closing for the entire month. Order what you need now." I was just panicked. I didn't know what to do. I should know better to look at my past trends, but I'm just like, I'm just gonna order 60 of every size in the two styles. Oh my god, the boxes came. I was in a small townhouse, and it just we didn't have room for it, and so I put it all in my backyard. And thankfully, my husband helped me out with that, didn't get mad because it was just a mess. Um, we had probably 20 boxes in the house upstairs, in the backyard. And huge mistake, because I ordered this January 2021 and it is May 2022. I had just opened that last box
Which
this
is
month.
super exciting though,
It's
but
exciting because I'm like, oh my
it's
God,
there.
oh my, yeah, it was just insane. So inventory is an issue still on my end, just because of the space limitations. I think I'm just juggling a lot. It's just me, myself, and I on this team at the moment. So I wouldn't say it's the most organized. There are times where my inventory is low and I'm like freaking out, asking for a rush order of X amount of this style at some point. So that is currently still the struggle that I face. Also, I'm becoming the bottleneck of my business, right? Because I do it all, right? So I think I'm too much into the weeds actually making the jackets. I enjoy
Mhm.
it, but as I mentioned, my long-term goal is to kind of pull up from the business, not be so in the weeds, and do more of like the visionary work and the designing. Um, and the other huge thing I learned, again, we have all the resources at our fingertips, but you learn as you go. Taxes. So
Mm.
my first year of business, I learned a lot. Luckily, I have an accountant who does my books now every month. So still
Mhm.
learning that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a sting every time, don't
So
you
every
worry.
time. Yeah.
And so, okay, so that's amazing. You have gone through a lot. It's the entrepreneur journey. Did you envision yourself to be this entrepreneur? Like, what's it feel like now that you have a business and you're starting to find your stride and you're figuring out how to be a boss and you're hiring people and, you know, your degrees in biology. Did you imagine this life for yourself?
Not at all. I I think if my boss from 2 years ago from another company would ask me like, "What's your 5-year plan?" I thought I wanted to be an executive at a big corporate company, and this just kind of happened. And I want to say everything happens for a reason. So whatever I went through in 2020 was really rough, but out came this business that I now can take on full time. I can be home with my son, be very flexible. So I didn't see it coming at all. But I guess if life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. And
yeah.
that's what you did. Um, and then did you ever have your wedding in Cabo then? I mean,
No, I
it's all
didn't.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if like things have opened up, but there's more weddings. Is that what you're seeing? Is that the people are having more weddings now? Are
Oh,
they
yes,
starting to?
they are.
Okay.
So in the beginning, like in 2020, people were having more micro weddings and elopements, and that's what we ended up doing. So
Mm.
we kept our wedding on the exact same date. We were able to shave the guest list from 140 to 30, had it safe outside in a cliff in San Diego, and then rented an Airbnb afterwards. Um, Funny enough, I actually never wore my own bride jacket on that day because it was very hectic. So I just wear anytime and any chance I get. So back then it was more of I still had a lot of brides eloping or having micro weddings of their own. But yes, the weddings have definitely boomed this year.
Mhm.
So I get a ton of rush orders. Like, hey, like my wedding, actually, it's next weekend. I need it now. So it's been great.
Right, I mean, people, why how can you get married so quickly?
Right? Some are honestly are just like, I can't wait any longer. Like let's say they
Yeah.
delayed it for 2 years and they're like, you know what, we're just gonna go to the court. I need this jacket by next weekend is what's happening a lot.
Oh gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Marilyn, give what would be some advice that you would give to yourself and to the listeners out there of anything about your business, anything that you learned? Give what's some advice that you would give to somebody who's listening right now?
Advice someone who's listening and starting their business is truly there are resources everywhere and anywhere you look. Google, there's a bunch of podcasts. So really learn from that every moment you get. Like listen to a podcast as you're walking or as you're driving or something. That's really where I got all my knowledge and what really fueled me. There are tons of small business owners, especially coming out of 2020. So you're not alone. And that's where I'm so glad I found the mastermind. As I took this on full time, I'm like, probably going to be lonely in this house. I need to, run my ideas or, absorb other knowledge from other business owners. So that'd be my advice is really just never settle And especially with the business, you need to be a go-getter in order to grow and to succeed. So really always continue to learn.
I love that. Can we talk a little bit about the mastermind?
Yeah.
So what made you sign up for the mastermind then?
I listened to podcasts, and I wanted to be with like-minded people. So I personally don't have any friends who have businesses. And I know if I truly just relied on listening to podcasts and Googling things, I would miss something. And I want to really grow this business like exponentially. So finding it, and I actually was under your guys' requirement levels, but I decided to apply anyways. And I'm so happy that I got in. Um,
Yay.
yeah, so just being with other like-minded people, being able to pitch other ideas, and it's been so helpful. I think the first week I was just throwing in all my questions like, hey, what systems do you guys use? And I've just absorbed so much.
I love that. I mean, really is about the support. And we have a very similar upbringing. You're so much younger than me, but still very similar. But it is, you do feel alone in it, So having the people that can support you or talk this shorthand, or even just be feeling safe to really talk about business and growing and having these big dreams, or, doing the things that you want to do, I think is so beneficial of the mastermind. And have you been making friends in there?
I have, and it's funny enough that in this group of like 40 to 50, there was one other person, Michelle. She's actually like 20 minutes away from me down here. So we haven't met up yet, but we're
So
planning.
Michelle and John?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I invited them to be on. They'll probably be on at a later time. This
Nice.
happens to be their busy season, and they do customized, like, portraits and things like that.
Mhm.
So you all listening will probably hear more about Michelle and John. I wanted to have them on, and I had this kind of brilliant idea, which I have not okayed it with my husband, but they work together, and I
Yeah.
wanted us to interview them. He's been fighting me tooth and nail about being on the podcast a bit, but if there's another couple, you never know, you
Right.
know? So, that's awesome. So you 2 have hit it off then?
Yeah. I know she had a baby like a little bit before I did too. So there's a lot of similarities there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much, Marilyn, for being on the podcast. And everybody, let our listeners know where they can find you, share you, buy from you, and support you.
Awesome. So you can find me or find our jackets on geminifusion.co. So CO
Mhm.
without the M. And we're on Instagram, gemini.fusion, and also on Facebook, Gemini Fusion.
Yay. Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll have the producers cut it off right there. And thank you, everybody, for showing up live with us. We're so excited to share Marilyn with you, and make sure you all check out her website and buy from her, or at least follow her on Instagram. So thanks, everybody, for being on with us.
Thank you.